There's making mistakes with your YouTube channel. There's completely failing to maintain your YouTube channel, to maintain your relevancy, to keep yourself talked about in the sphere, and maintaining your position, your status in the ecosystem. And then there is a comeback so epically fail that you can't, people just can't help but like point and laugh at it. You know, that's kind of my mindset. Like, and then you go, and then you try and make a comeback from your failed comeback, and then you reboot your comeback, and then suddenly you are running a channel called ReviewTechUSA2. Really? This is your big play? Like, oh, I'm going to make a comeback. Oh, RichTomorrow isn't working out. Not a single person watches the ASMR streams. Nobody wants to hear my Trump takes. Like, what am I going to do? You know, like, what am I going to do? I know. I'm going to bring ReviewTechUSA back. Oops, but some troll already has the label. So I, the original founder of the ReviewTechUSA channel, am going to have to reboot it as ReviewTechUSA2. Because even when you're the only person in the game, even when you are ReviewTechUSA, you still somehow come in second. It's like you're racing yourself and end up in second place. Like, how is that even possible? You know, how did he even manage it? It just beggars belief. It boggles the mind. It just, tickles the senses. It's like, how is this even possible? This is one of the biggest fails we have seen out of ReviewTechUSA this year. The biggest fail we have seen in the past 3 days. It's just like, I'm bringing ReviewTechUSA back. Oh, let's call it ReviewTechUSA2. Like, unbelievable. Does he really think this is gonna work? Does he really think he's gonna rejoin Blistered Thumbs and we're Angry Joe again? Like, I'm still relevant, guys. This guy's been kicked off locale. ReviewTechUSA is so pathetic that he got fired from Locale Live. Like, how exactly is that possible? You have a collection, like a coalition of the most pathetic people on the internet. You got, the Superman, Boogie 2988. You got the Batman, Wings of Redemption. It's the Justice League of autism, right? And these guys took a look at ReviewTechUSA and were just like, no thanks, okay? You can you can form your own superhero team. You can be your D-list character. You could be you're like the Penny Plunderer, right? Like a D-list Batman villain that only exists out of because of how awful he is. The only reason the Penny Plunderer is relevant today is because of just how much of a shitty villain he is. Not only as from his inception with his ridiculous motivation and his his skill set and what he tries to do, just the simple fact, pennies don't get manufactured anymore. Okay. The Penny Plunderer is simply obsolete. Inflation drove that guy out of relevancy to the point where you can't even use him as a joke. That's where ReviewTechUSA is right now. He is such an epic failure that Kino Casino can't cover him. What Kino Casino does every time that Rich comes on screen, every time they have to talk about Rich, they're just like, I mean, we hate Rich. We've been following Rich for years. We know everything about him. We know Rich is a piece of shit, but at the same time, it's Rich, There's nothing to talk about. I've had that experience, ReviewTechUSA is sitting there constantly making entire YouTube streams about me. Oh, let's watch Harmon Smith play Double Dragon. And then he he's obsessing over me constantly, bringing me up, complaining. And then meanwhile, I can't even retaliate because there's nothing to talk about. He is a nothing burger of a human being. Like, he doesn't do anything to complain about. Everything he does has been talked about to death. Someone like DSP, constantly reinvents himself and finds new ways to fuck over other people and to alienate people and just drive people nuts with his antics. Usually through his spending. ReviewTechUSA, he's I don't know, the Temu DSP in the sense where he does all the same things. He's Rich's brother from another mother. He's like Phil's brother from another mother. He's this completely. He's exactly the same, and yet he's not fun to watch. He doesn't draw in the same kind of audience. He is the A-log of the the DSP community. JRPG, you want to talk about the DSP community, right? He is the very definition of an A-log. Someone who tries to use Phil to prop up his content, his community, and get people tuned into his channel. Because that's what people want to do, is tune into a tech channel and see Rich sitting there and be like, oh, it's time for another 12-hour stream of watching DSP content. It's bro, I don't even know if I watch 12 hours of DSP in a year, honestly. When you compare this to how other people act about other locales, Rich is downright obsessed. Rich is his entire life is A-logging DSP at this point. It matters more to him than food, his family. It matters more to him than his career, his future, financial stability. As long as he can go live and make fun of DSP, he thinks he's on top of the world. But guess what, Rich? You are not at you are at rock bottom, okay? You are beyond rock bottom, you are not on top of the world. You're in the center of it, and your body mass is just the core of the planet, because you're so unbelievably fat that the entire ecosystem of the planet is orbits around you. Right, that's kind of what we're seeing here. That's what we're seeing. Rich is that he's just such a worthless human being. He has gone beyond rock bottom and is just continuing tunneling down, hoping he's gonna come out the other side. And it's just not possible to do that. He's gonna get lost. He's gonna go around in circles. He's gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again, and he's never, ever going to again see the light of day, because he is such an incel.